Said, I call this meeting to order, and Mr. Davis, will you confirm the quorum for us, please?
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. We are here for the new business of a write-in candidate for the Board of Directors. Do I have a motion which would like to be put forth?
I make a motion that we allow write-in candidates in accordance with our bylaws, with the state of Arizona, and with our founding documents.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, is your microphone up?
I'll second that.
All right. I will open this up for comment for discussion with the board. Thank you.
Bruce, if you don't mind, I'd like to begin. I want to clarify that the governing authority regarding write-in candidates, our founding documents do not prohibit write-ins. Under Arizona nonprofit law, voting rights cannot be restricted unless the governing documents explicitly restrict them. Robert's rules that are adopted parliamentary authority defaults to allowing write-ins unless the bylaws expressly forbid them, which they do not. Therefore, any motion to prohibit, suspend, or delay write-ins would exceed the board's authority and is out of order. Currently, Cortabella is doing the program of write-in candidates, so I'm leaving that up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Louis, our history, our precedent was set. We have never allowed write-in ballots. In fact, people who have not made the deadline for their applications were not allowed to run, even though they might have come in a day later. I see no reason to change that policy. If these people that wanted to run, they could have done it, but I for the rest of us. Thank you.
I haven't seen any attempts in the past at write-in candidates, so I don't know that we've disallowed it. I just think it's never been asked of us. So I don't know about if precedence has actually been set. Although
the precedent, Jim, was the applications were not in on time, the person was not allowed to run, even if it was just less than 24 hours late.
yeah, I understand that. But I just think that should somebody, let's say one of those candidates decided to be a write-in, we would have been in this same position at that time, and I don't think it was ever brought forth to us. So I think even though that we have opinions about this subject, looking at our bylaws, looking at the state laws, I did some research on my own so I can really see what is in black and white that governs us. And I think that it is to remain open, since our bylaws, our CC&Rs, our governing documents don't disallow that.
They don't disallow it, but they don't allow it either, so it becomes, it says absolutely nothing about write-in ballots, and then it becomes it becomes a property of the board. The board decides now whether we want to do it or not. I personally think that less than 30 days before the election to bring this up, ridiculous.
I understand. But the state law does actually cover this. It does cover. And
What does it say?
I'm sorry?
What does it say? What's the law?
It says that that write-ins are allowed.
If they're allowed, we've never allowed them.
Again, folks, keep your comments to yourself, please, while we're in discussion.
Joe, can I help a little bit?
Okay, go ahead.
So what the bylaws say about board authority, Article 4, Section 9, the board's powers are listed exhaustively, and none include the authority to restrict voting rights, define ballot format, prohibit write-ins, limit who members may vote for or not. A board cannot invent authority that the bylaws do not grant.
I understand that, but it also does not allow them either. It doesn't say it allows them, so it becomes a question for the board to decide.
Well, Karen says that's correct, but that's not correct.
It is.
It is not, Karen.
It
You're
is,
not a
Tim.
board
I'm not
member.
gonna argue with
Nobody's
you.
asked you your opinion. This is a board matter.
I'm the general manager. I am allowed to put my opinion in, sir.
If you're asked,
No, not true.
can you cite any document like that?
I'm not gonna argue with you.
Of course not, because you don't have that authority.
I do.
No, you don't. So this is the deal. This is the straight up deal for people that are in the audience. The board does not have authority to do this. The membership, if you go to the bylaws, this is a membership.
Okay,
Matt.
Tim, okay. Let's get back on task. The item before us is write-in voting, or write-in candidate, right? Let's stay on that.
I think the real matter now is, does the board have the authority to do that? And I'm telling you that they do not.
And I am gonna chime in. Let me use an analogy here. 2 years ago, we had 8 candidates sign up to run for board. And we have to think long-term. If we allow write-in candidates now, that means we can allow write-in candidates again and again and again. Where is the equity when you have 8 people sign up and then you find a 9th that maybe, oh, I want to be a write-in all of a sudden? Where the other 8 took the time to go forth, sign up during the allotted time, and went by the rules, and then we allow one person or 2 people, whoever, decided, oh, I think I want to run. Every person that considered running this year had the opportunity to sign up. They chose not to, and now we're hearing that, oh, I don't like who's running. Well, you still could have signed up, seen who was running, and withdrawn. And I didn't see anybody even consider doing that. So my concern is the long-term effect of this. And I think the board should truly weigh that in on this.
So the governing authority overviews the bylaws and founding documents. The association's governing documents do not prohibit write-in candidates. Our opinions and whether we've done it in the past do not matter. Voting rights cannot be restricted unless explicitly stated by the bylaws. So if you're going to restrict that, then we have to have an amendment by the membership.
I still believe this is a board decision, and we were gonna stay on task with that.
Do you recognize state law? Do you recognize our bylaws? Do you recognize Robert's rules?
State law is silent on this.
I'd like to add that the attorney stood up at our last meeting and recommended that it not be adopted. The attorney does not ignore the ramifications of state law.
I disagree with that. The attorney the attorney thinks that changing your oil in your car is not a maintenance action. She believes it's a capital improvement. So I disregard on that. It's not about, you can shake your head all you want, Karen, but what she did say is she specifically said that she was trying to define putting up a brand new fence as a maintenance action. Everybody in this room can argue that that's not true.
She also told us that if we're to entertain this, we need to simply entertain it as a board. And yeah, correct, here we are, we're discussing it, which is good. I think that it's hard, what brought this about is a unique situation. And that's why we're here. So I think it's worth entertaining and really discovering what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. And again, I'm really not for this situation happening. I think it's far easier to apply and do that. But when situations arise that somebody says, hey, we need to consider this, and looking at it, in considering it, we have to understand that there's nothing, in my opinion, there's really nothing we can do to be more restrictive about it. It's voting, and it's allowed in America to have write-in candidates, and it should be allowed here as well, regardless of personal opinions. It's extremely hard and to have somebody write in be successful, but at the same time, if that's what the community is telling us, we should listen to them and understand that this situation has perked up and we need to address it, and I don't think there's any harm in allowing it.
We're setting a precedent that we don't need to set. And the laws, the regulations, the HOA regulations, everything points to the fact that they don't say anything about the write-in ballot. With precedent says we have never had a write-in ballot. Why didn't somebody want to write in when we had 8 candidates? Why all of a sudden 1 candidate missing and we still have the 4 seats? 1 candidate and all of a sudden we got a write-in ballot. I just don't buy it, Tim. I think it's a last-minute chance to continue to do what you're doing, which is disrupt this board.
Actually, as secretary, it's my job. As secretary, it's my job is to, one of the portions of that, and as a board member, is to uphold our CCNRs, our Constitution.
I think the job is to take minutes and see that they're taken properly and reported properly.
I think, Max, you need to open your eyes a little bit. So basically, this is what we're looking at.
Okay.
Default rules on write-in ballots. Number one.
I'm gonna pause here. Max and Tim, I ask you guys to be respectful of each other. And let's move forward.
Okay, so with that in mind, so basically the default rule on write-in ballots. Write-in ballots are generally allowed unless explicitly prohibited by the bylaws. A board vote alone cannot remove member voting rights. Election committees must follow governing documents, not board preferences. Boards cannot amend bylaws through motions. Removing voting rights without a bylaw amendment is considered ultra-virus. Requests for legal bias can expose procedural weakness. Here's the problem, is if we don't follow our own bylaws, everybody that's sitting on this board is personally liable and can be personally sued because you know that you're not following the bylaws. So however we vote today, I'm telling you straight up, per the bylaws, this needs to go to the vote of the membership.
Thank you for your opinion on that. Okay, have we discussed this enough?
I want to add something here. In the past, historically, this association has had 3 seats available and 3 candidates apply. 4 seats available and 4 candidates apply. There's always been the historical precedent, which truly does matter, that it has come up that the number of candidates running are the number of seats that are available. And there was never this kind of opposition to that. Write-in ballots never came up before. Why is it this time? What is the issue now?
I think the issue came from the fact that Marcy decided not to run. But that's where you asked me where it came from.
Yes.
I believe that's what
I'm
scared.
recognizing that. I'm glad glad you're recognizing that.
Absolutely, but I'm also recognizing the fact that even in Portobello, where they're recognizing the fact for write-in ballots, right? So that's, again, that's Arizona law. I have no idea what their bylaws say, but if our bylaws don't restrict something, then it's allowable. And what's the harm? Even though you're saying that, you know, it's like we've always done it this way. Well, we never had a president of the board decided to resign and take an assistant position within our organization. That's never happened before. So if we're going to argue about president, it's like, come on, this is a special circumstance. That's what's raised its head. So if you can find something within the bylaws, within the CC&Rs, everyone that's in this room, Jennifer, we got this in the mail. Every swinging one of you guys got this, and it says that we have to abide by our CC&Rs, our articles of incorporation, and our bylaws. That's what we need to do. This board does not have any more authority than that, what's put into those documents. If the law says, Bob, that it's allowable to do this, then we should be able to do this. Portobello's doing it, why can't we?
Okay, is there any further discussion from our board members?
No.
Okay, I will open this up for comment. We will go one at a time. You might just stand in line. Kevin, you stood up first, so welcome to the mic. Thank you.
The early bird gets the worm.
That is correct.
I'm not here to weigh in one way or another on this issue. I think there are legitimate positions on both sides of it. What concerns me is the perceived conflict of interest of two sitting board members who are also on the ballot voting on this issue. I think it's tantamount to voting yourself into the board. I believe the rest of the board should make that decision, if that is a decision to be made one way or another. But people could perceive that the thumb was put on the scale of this election. And I think you two guys have some soul searching to do. I don't think you should vote on it. One other thing that I didn't come up here to talk about is I see a little bit of animosity, unhidden animosity. Now you can't expect us to do anything that you don't expect yourselves to do. So, you know, I think we could tamp that down a little too.
Can you state your name and
No.
where you live?
Rosie Weiser, Meadow Park 2.
Thank you.
This doesn't really have anything to do with how you vote. However, I have been coming to the committee meetings and the board meetings, and I'm getting to know the people who are on the board and how you think, how you act. And I was at the candidate forum last night. There weren't very many people there. I would like to have seen a lot more. But you learn a lot about commitment and how the candidates feel about Westbrook Village, what their vision is for Westbrook Village, and this is a great place. Now, for a write-in candidate, I don't know any of that stuff. And I would have a hard time voting for a write-in candidate who I don't know. Does that individual come to the board meetings? Does that individual come to the committee meetings? I don't know any of that, so I would have a hard time voting for a write-in candidate. But that's just me, that's my opinion. But I think we need more homeowner participation in these things.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I didn't get a good...
I've been here for 6 years, a little over 6 years, and I too have been attending the committee and the board meetings in the last 2 years. And there is one individual that has many times as a committee chairman and a board member stated, if you all want to do something about it and quit complaining, and he brought this up last night at the meeting again, and I was disappointed, and someone allowed to speak and say that he feels that he Well, he went on to say he's going to be the secretary next year. That's what his goal was. Guess what? That is a big slam at your fellow board member. And we see this when this person stands there and goes, rolls his eyes. When I am up here speaking, I have a right to speak, just like you have a right to speak. I respect you, and I thank you for what you do, because I have been a president of a board before. I have worked on roads because we owned our own streets in Pinehurst, North Carolina. So I've been there and done it. So I do have an opinion. I've worked in hospitals, I've done management, but I also think that this situation was, Marcy, yes, I congratulate her. She did a great job, I think, this past year. She got in a job opportunity and she took it. But that happened, what, January 20th around there? So this has been in the last 30 days that we had 3 positions and we had 4 candidates in December, the end of December. Now this makes 4 candidates, 4 positions now because of her stepping down from her positions, and that is an important thing. There was a meeting of town hall about the fence. There was a board meeting. The attorney came in and spoke. I learned a lot there that she did not know. Sorry, I agree that there were some things that she said that I went home to my husband and said, is this true in insurance? He said, nope. And guess what? He has 33 years of commercial insurance. So again, I respect you guys, but I do think this is a different situation that we now, yes, I would love, if I knew what I know now, by December 3rd, I may have applied.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dale Eisentraut, Mountain Park Estates. My question is kind of to the board on, are you really ready to vote on this? You've got some questions unanswered on exactly how a write-in would occur. Do they get automatically, like everybody gets, I think, 4 votes or whatever for candidates, they can spread them out. Do they automatically get all 4 votes? Do they get 1 vote? Do they need, and then how many votes do they need to be on the board? Just 1 more than the least amount? Or they should have to have more votes than the top person gets. They shouldn't just be able to come in, because the other people have been vetted through the system, and right now you've got 4 people running, 4 votes. We maybe need a town hall to discuss this, to find out how that works. We need more time. We don't have enough time for this one. Everybody's already been set. The community thinks there's only 4 people running, 4 votes. They're not going to vote. So that really puts it easier for a person of a write-in to slide in with maybe even 1 or 2 votes. If everybody votes for this one person and the other ones get very little, it's easy for a write-in to slide in. I mean, you don't have the process ready right now to do this. You need more time, and it shouldn't be in this election. If you're going to do it, fine, have more time, do it in the next election, but not in this one. This one's already set. The die has been cast. The public knows everything. I don't even know if they know that much about being here at this meeting. There's not a big group here.
Okay.
Is that?
Thank you very much.
Can I say something just a little bit? Thank you, Dale. Thank you. I want to correct something that Jennifer said, and she can correct me if I'm wrong, or somebody can. There always were 4 seats available in this election, not the 3. But Jennifer, thank you for continuing to come to meetings so much. It's very valuable.
My name is Marcia Olbrook. I live in Tamron Place. I just have a couple questions. First of all, I maybe am not understanding how a write-in vote works. I thought a write-in vote works by, we have people that have been set to run for the board, and then I, as a resident, have the opportunity to write in somebody that I want for the ballot. That write-in vote's not on the ballot. we're gonna write it in. Is that, am I understanding that correctly? I don't know, okay. So I don't understand then, if that's the way it is, why anybody is concerned about having a write-in, being able to write in. We can write in for the President of the United States. Why is the board so concerned about allowing us as residents to write somebody in? I'm not sure that writing somebody in, I think Jennifer may have said, or somebody said, that they may not win anyways because it's going to be hard to have that many people. But I just don't think that restricting residents to make a choice of saying, okay, I want somebody else on the board than maybe they didn't choose to be. They may choose not to be anyways if somebody writes them in. If somebody wrote me in, I would say no, you know. But I'm just saying, I think that we should have the right and the ability to do that. And I'm not sure I understand what the fear is. And I understand precedents. I understand. The thing that drives me nuts is when somebody says, well, we've never done it before. Well, big deal. Let's do it. What's wrong with starting and doing something that's out of maybe the normal? And I understand precedents, but I don't understand why this is such a big deal to be able to write in somebody that we may want to have. Because frankly, maybe I won't even vote, you know? I think, and that's the other thing, I understand voting takes a lot of money. If you only have 4 candidates running for 4 positions, why spend the money on voting? Because those 4 people are gonna get in. Doesn't matter. So I just don't understand.
Thank you. You'll have a comment to make.
I think one of the concerns about the write-in is with our electronic voting, there is no blank line to write in. So if we do this, we would have to add that to the electronic voting and probably have 4 blank lines because everybody gets 4 votes.
Marty Harper, Fairway Springs. I do remember in the past, we've had multiple candidates for, let's say, 3 positions, and there was 4 candidates or 5 candidates, and have dropped out at the last moment. So the thing of only having so many people to vote for the exact same number of positions has happened before. And so that is something that traditionally has happened here. And I think, like many things here, if we're going to do it, we need to do it the right way with study and information, because setting the precedents and not doing your study is just ignorance and going to cost money and pain later on. If this is such a big deal, what's the urgency on doing it right?
Thank you.
Can I come in?
Well, you sure may.
Rosie Weiser, Meadow Park too. Just one more thing. We have cumulative voting. That also needs to be taken into consideration.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Are there any other comments?
Yeah, Bruce, I think at some time during these conversations, not necessarily this morning, but in past conversations, I suggested at one time that we, the new board, have a committee of some kind to look into the bylaws, review them, and see if changes should be attempted.
Okay, thank you. With that said, if there's no more further I'm sorry, I didn't see you raise your hand. I apologize, Nancy. Come on.
Nancy Millard, Oakmont Heights. My question to the board is, I would like you to tell me where you think you have legal authority to not allow write-in ballots. I mean, let's talk about the law. Nobody's addressed Tim's comments about what the law says. So could you give your analysis on what your legal basis is for not allowing write-in ballots?
You were looking at this, well, I'll give you the first answer. I am going on our attorney's recommendations and intellect. I'm also going on the assumption that if it is not said in the bylaws or the CC&Rs what to do with the write-in, then it diverts down to the next governing authority, which is this board.
Correct.
You may. You may.
Your attorney gave no legal basis. She said it was her opinion. No legal basis. I want to know what the legal basis is for your decision today.
I'm not an attorney. I'd have to really research that one.
Has an alternate attorney been consulted that is licensed in the state of Arizona? Tim held up something and I'm unsure what was in that envelope. I didn't get an explanation. If you guys have consulted with an attorney and have gotten a contrary opinion, that would be very valid injection into this conversation.
Thank you for asking that question. This is the typical package that goes out to every individual that buys. This is the Westbrook Village buyer information sheet. Under purchaser acknowledgement, it says this. It says, I hereby acknowledge that the declaration, bylaws, and rules of the association constitute a contract between the association and the purchasers. By signing this statement, I acknowledge that I've read and understand the association's contract with the purchasers. I also understand that as a matter of Arizona law, if I fail to pay, it talks about association assessments, then you're liable. And so, in the past, I quoted Arizona law, and this time I was told that probably wouldn't go over well, so I didn't do that. But I did reference the fact that Arizona state law, our bylaws specifically say that we need to follow Robert's Rules of Order. Robert Rules of Order basically says that the bylaws specifically say that if we're going to change anything within the bylaws, we have to have an amendment of the people. And next month, we're going to have a meeting of the membership and somebody can craft something then. But the deal is you can't, for Dale's comment is the fact that, hey, look, this is a last minute deal. But the thing is this needs to be addressed now. If the board votes to disregard write-ins, there's repercussions behind that. If they say, let's give it a little bit more time and let's look at it, that's a valid tack to take, and we should go that way. It's my understanding that we have people at the candidates night last night think that maybe this should be put off a little bit until maybe next year. Well, I think it needs to be done now. As the secretary looking over our documents, I think we're in violation and we need to amend our bylaws in order to not recognize the fact that we have write-ins.
Thank you.
I have a question here, and it probably needs to go to Karen. And I'm coming up with this question because sitting on this board, I have the most experience. Karen, there are laws that mandate the timing and whatnot of the annual meeting and the election of the board. If this is considered further and there's a postponement of the annual meeting and whatnot, does that step on those laws?
It does take us back to ground zero that we need to do the proper notification in the time. We've already done the notification. The electronic ballot needs to go out in the next 48 hours. We're waiting for this meeting. So at this time, we're still within those guidelines, but it's very tight.
Okay, thank you.
To answer Nancy's question, in my research, the legal parameters, state law is stating, for example, cumulative voting is not allowed unless our governing documents state otherwise, which they do. So that's why we're allowed to do that. It also states that write-ins is allowed unless our governing documents state otherwise, which they don't. So again, that's where I'm drawing my opinion from, is state law. And I hope that answers your question.
Are there any more comments?
I'd like to know what HOA law says, which I've been told supersedes state law.
It's contrary to that.
I will repeat what the attorney said, is that state law is silent, our governing documents are silent, it falls to the board of directors.
Okay, again, I think we've discussed this enough. I am going to call this, if there's no objections, I am going to call this.
I think everybody answered Nancy's question.
Yeah.
Well, I don't feel we have to if we choose not to. I will speak to this. I feel that state law is silent on this. I feel our documents are silent on this, and it does fall to the decision of the board. That is, folks, you don't have to agree with me. That is my thoughts on it. You asked me of them, and I expressed them. Thank you.
Judge, are you okay?
We have a gentleman out here who wants to speak. Please come up.
Hi, I'm George Street. I'm from CCE.
Say last name again, please.
Street.
Thank you.
Spelled S-T-R-I-D. It looks like Street, but it's Street.
Thank you.
Yes, I can't talk. You have all been appointed. Congratulations. But the problem is, we out here also have a vote. We also have a voice. And what you're trying to do to us is say, you get all votes and you don't. You have to listen to us. If you don't listen to us, that's a problem. And we're out here telling you something, and you're telling us weird stuff. This, that, and we don't want that. We want to hear exactly what's going on. So when we ask, what is your opinion? We want your opinion. We don't want one, we don't want one. We want all opinions, because we want to hear what you have to say.
Okay, thank you.
So listen to us.
Okay,
Thanks.
Okay, so does anybody else on the board want to share an opinion or not? Okay, I'm going to call this motion to a vote.
Do you want to repeat the motion? Would you like it repeated?
Yes, please.
Barb? Do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Tim Davis made the motion to allow write-in candidacy on the upcoming board election, seconded by Joe Bernier. Is that correct?
Based on Arizona law that allows it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Davis, how do you vote?
Based on Arizona state law, I vote in favor of allowing write-in candidates.
Mr. Merkovich, how do you vote?
I vote no.
Mr. Bernier, how do you vote?
I vote that, yes, we allow it.
Amy Bill Miller votes no.
I
Max?
vote no.
All right, with that said, this measure fails. Thank you very much for attending.
Adjourned?
I adjourn this meeting.